what has been your biggest challenge, do you think, over the years?
For me, it was we opened our doors for business in January 2007, and then 8, 9, 10 followed soon after. We're lucky still to be here. Because my visa is still contingent upon my business.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah.
So you're not a permanent resident yet, or where's that status?
Unfortunately, that's a whole other show by itself, Richard. But unfortunately, the visa that I'm on and many other people are on doesn't lead to permanent residency or citizenship. We're not allowed to apply. It's they don't offer us a path. If we have a path in another way, we can apply, but this visa doesn't lead to it. So we're hoping that might change, but as I say, that's probably a whole different
Let's hope
show.
it does. We need more individuals like you here.
Well, exactly. I mean, this is just, you've provided so much opportunity for individuals because of you becoming involved in starting a franchise. So how many employees do you employ now?
Currently, I've got 5. We've got a couple of projects happening this year that we're probably going to be up between 8 and 10. But over the years, the average is 5 or 6 at a time.
Awesome. That's exciting to me, and you're absolutely right. You've contributed so much to our community as well as the society, and continually growing and bringing, not only for the economy, bringing money into our economy locally, but as well as, for those that are working with you. So that's cool.
Thanks very much.
I think that's awesome. I admire you very, very much, and I've enjoyed knowing you over these years. So
it's mutual. Very, very much.
So, go ahead, Richard.
Yeah. So what, in a growth perspective, where do you see yourself, and how do you forecast what you're going to be doing 5 years from now?
Well, we've just actually renewed our 10-year contract with Fish Window Cleaning, and we purchased some more territory. So the plan for me is that eventually we're either going to have one large centralised office where we can run the north and the south of the county out of there, or we'll have 2 smaller offices with an operations manager at each office controlling the daily production, the cleaners, that type of thing, and the general manager overseeing that, and a salesperson floating between areas. So that's the ultimate goal. So
that's your vision for right now.
That's what we're looking at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, that's great that you can see it, and it's better that you can define it in the detail that you're saying it. We've got the 2 offices, we got the managers, and then we'll have a general manager that's going to manage each division of your business. And where will you be?
I'll either be in. I would imagine I'll probably be in the general manager's position.
You're cheating. You're cheating.
Probably the biggest problem in my business is me. I'm not willing to give up the reins on certain things that I should. I have to learn to delegate better.
I think
it's tough. I know.
Being an entrepreneur and coming from an entrepreneur's family, my grandfather, my father, both of my grandfathers, and that they were all self-made people in what's there. And yes, it's something that does get in your blood, and it is something that I'll use loosely the term freedom, that it's hard to walk away from.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It doesn't mean we don't work as hard and probably work longer hours than most everybody else that's out there, but there's just something about the freedom that goes
there
with
is.
it.
I mean, I would definitely agree. I do way more hours as a self-employed entrepreneur than I did as an employee. There's a lot to be said for the security of a paycheck. There's some weeks when you chase things down.
Yeah.
And everyone else gets paid, but you have to make sure. But once you get past that stage, it's you get to start reaping the benefits.
Absolutely so.
Totally relate with that. There's times you think that, gosh, I'm working for my business when we had our larger businesses. I think you met us. We had a full web agency and such. And I felt so many times that I was actually working just to pay their payroll. And, I would come to Richard, we got a mortgage to pay. So what's the next step? But share the listeners a little bit about what actually fish window cleaning does. How does it service our community?
Well, we clean commercial and residential windows. Our typical customer are your little storefronts, the stores and restaurants that you go into every day. We're strip malls, car dealerships, homes. Of course, we do a lot of homes too, but our primary business is commercial because it's such repeat frequency, and it's so important for the stores and the store owners to be able to set the stage to display their goods, and they want to have their facilities looking professional, and they want them most of the time to be maintained by professionals and looked after with the same care that they show their clients and their businesses.
So you do windows.
We do windows, yes. We clean little storefronts all the way up to 5- and 6-story buildings.
Wow, not very many of those here, but
There's not.
some.
That's why we don't do rope access work because of that, because there's really not that many on the Space Coast. I've got a couple of people that I can bring in if that's the case, but we can clean 6 stories from the ground safely without having to take the risks involved with that type of work, or have to pay the higher insurance premiums and things that type of work would involve.
I want to know what workman's comp would be on that type of
workman's comp for window cleaning is already a nightmare because we're in that bracket. But if we were doing much more of that type of work, I'm sure we'd be paying much higher premiums than we already have to, which are high enough.
And do you just service the Space Coast area? Do you go into Orlando, or what's your full area that you service?
Well, as being part of a franchise, my area is the Space Coast area. That's the territory that I operate in. But we've got franchises all over the United States. We've got them from Maine to California. There's people out there grinding away the same as we are doing it in a lot of towns and a lot of cities across America. Where Fish Window Cleaning is the largest window cleaning company in America.
Wow. Didn't know that.
I never had heard of it until I met you. And I actually at first thought it was your company, that you had started it.
Most people do. I get called Mr. Fish on a daily basis.
That's so cute. So share a little bit about I know you said that you joined networking groups. I know we were in BNI, Business Network International, together. That's where we first met. I know you've joined some chambers. But I find it interesting, some of your story, when you joined a chamber, there were other businesses that did cleaning, but you were able to partner with them. And how did that work for you, and how did that happen?
Well, I was very fortunate to be brought into a group of businesses in the Melbourne Chamber that they had specialists that each did certain things, and no one member of that. There was myself, Fox Janitorial, and Ichiban Cleaning, and we were able to market ourselves as a bigger company because we could each take care of separate parts of the bigger buildings. There was
very smart.
Exactly, and it saved one company having to pay the extra insurances or buy the extra equipment. We could take care of all the window cleaning needs. Fox were taking care of all the flooring needs, and Ichiban were taking care of all the janitorial needs. And that worked really well for us, especially during those years when the economy was so bad, and all the little storefront jobs that are my bread and butter were drying up. Being fortunate enough to be asked to be part of that group probably got me through a lot of those years, because we were able to work on bigger projects than, as a fairly new company at that time, I wouldn't have been able to approach myself.
To me, that's genius. I mean, I know those other two companies as well, and you all have such a great reputation. So working as co-opetition instead of competition.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You were able to really help each other grow your businesses. Would you is there a tip that you can provide to other businesses that fear competitors where they could maybe look a little differently into doing something like you did? What was, what made you comfortable enough to do that?
It's all about the people. It's again, just everything goes back to good relationships. The people that I was doing it with were very, very trustworthy, very professional. I knew that I would have no problem in referring them and introducing them to any of my clients, and they felt the same way about me, luckily. So we were able to work so close together that way, hand in hand, that it benefited all of us.
Building that know, like, and trust factor.
Absolutely. But I just love the story and listening to the story of an entrepreneur's life that's going down, and then, like Cheri was saying, the competition, being able to team up with other specialists that take care of offices and office spaces on that it's just amazing. Now, is that group still in force today? You all still working together?
Oh, yes,
pretty much.
To an extent, yeah. Unfortunately, Frank with Fox passed away a couple of years ago, and then Janice, his mother, took over, and Janice does a wonderful job. And some of the buildings that we were doing were sold and new owners, and we still work together on various other things, and we always will. We'll always have relationships where we'll work together.
As life goes, so does business. There's always give and take, and things go up and things go down, and society changes, and the business climates change. Hopefully, we're on an upswing right now.
I believe so.
It's looking that way.
I think so, Richard. We've got to be positive, got to be optimistic.
We have to be optimistic today, and especially with our economy and changes in our country, everything. We have to stay focused and positive.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all you can do is just keep.
No, I do truly believe that the economy is rebounding. And I don't think there's anything the politicians, whether you're DI or R, on that can do much about it at this point in time, because there's too much pent up ambition that's going on out there, and businesses have to grow.
Oh yeah,
we've gone through a long time where the stock market's been relatively flat, so to speak, and business incomes in the small business sector haven't gone up much. So I see some very good things on the horizon with the economy, and hopefully we're all in a position here to take advantage of our portion of that.
No, I think so. I think the fact that we made it through the recession and the economic downturn, and that we're all still here, we're all still doing our thing and growing our businesses, plugging away. But we've seen growth every year. It's the last couple of years. It's started to do pretty well. We've done quite well, and I know a lot of other local business owners that have said the same thing. So it's now. I think now is hopefully the time when we can start to reap the benefits for the hard work that we've put in over the last 10 years.
Yeah, and we're just going to, it's still going to be hard work for any of us. With big, small business, it really doesn't matter.
Always.
It's always that dirty 4-letter word called work.
Yeah.
On doing that. But, that's okay. Because, when you own your own business, if you want to sneak out early on Friday, it's okay.
That does feel good.
You don't have anybody saying, wait a minute.
Yeah, that does feel good.
Of course, the downside of that is you still got to get the work done too.
Absolutely, yeah. That's like the best thing that I've ever done is hire a good team, get good people that you trust to go out there and represent you and to do the job, and then there's certain portions of my job that on a Friday afternoon I know no one's going to look at this until Monday anyway.
I love it. Well, when you look back, and I know that you said that you looked at a few different franchises, what was the exact reason you chose Fish Window Cleaning? What made you choose that over all the different franchises that you looked into?
Simplicity was probably the main reason. I like to keep life as simple as possible, and it's,
Amen to that.
yeah, I mean, this is window cleaning. It's as simple a business as you can possibly get. There is obviously a lot more involved with having a franchise because they take a lot off of my plate in the back room.